If you're watching this, I've been where you are, trying to figure out a way to rate limit your AWS SES email system from going out of control and sending too many emails. It sucks. I've been there. Since 2002, our company has completed more than 30,150 web development projects in the marketing and web development space. So I've seen quite a bit. I've seen hacked accounts that start sending out of control or bouncing catastrophically, leading AWS's SES team to suspend your account. Or it's a system that wasn't configured properly and starts sending out 50 emails every 3 minutes starting on a Friday afternoon. And by the time you notice, your account is over quota and you can't send anything else. So we asked the SES team at AWS. We hired a former senior level AWS solutions architect. We were told that no, AWS doesn't have any of the tools that allow you to rate limit how many emails a specific email account can send in one day. It's just one big bucket. So good luck with it and do your best. So after dealing with one too many outages for several of our clients, we decided to see if we could develop something that would work using only AWS tools to track and manage the SES outbound process. And after about 6 months of fine tuning and working on it, we've developed a really cool system, I guess really cool in my end, that allows you to rate limit your AWS SES outbound emails and automatically pull the keys if any specific email account sends out too many emails or starts bouncing too much out of control. So we built a self-service portal, I'm going to walk you through that next, that allows you to test out the process and have a full documentation process for that. So why are we putting this out there? Because we were really frustrated by not having a solution that would protect our clients. And we can't be the only ones out there that are affected by something like this. So it would have been easier to keep this as an internal tool or just give it to our clients. But we wanted to turn it to our experience and frustration into something that can help others out there. So we hope this is a good system for you. We've priced this in a way that allows us to cover our costs of setting up the system. And we have an option for self-service installation in case you're not able to let us into your AWS infrastructure. So there's two options for working with us. Full service, we set up everything in your AWS environment, including the specific serverless Lambda functions and MySQL database that allows your system to rate limit SES outbound emails. We'll set up to 10 different email addresses in the system, and additional ones we can just do at an hourly rate. We'll test it. We'll make it sure that you're able to send from various systems. We'll use the SES rate limiting portal that we've built and put this in your infrastructure to allow you to set up and test rate sending and bounce limits within the system. The price for full service includes the complete setup of the AWS SES rate limiting system, and we'll set it up for you. Rekey email accounts. We'll include the PDF manual for setup and configuration. We'll give you a zip file of the SES rate limiting portal, and we'll do at least an hour of screen share support and 12 months of free updates to the system. Additional support is available on an hourly basis. Option 2, self-service with included screen share support during US hours. So if you don't want us messing around in your production AWS environment, and no offense taken, I get it, we offer a self-service option that gives you the blueprints to put everything into place. We'll show you how to do it, and we get it. Sometimes it's not so easy to allow outsiders into the system, so we've created a do-it-yourself manual and an approach that allows you to set it up, configure it. But because it sometimes is complicated, we've included an hour of screen share support where we can help troubleshoot any issues you might have. So the self-service option includes the PDF manual for how to set up the AWS SES rate limiting system in your own environment, as well as a zip file for setting up the optional rate limiting portal. And the portal allows you to configure rate limits and bounce limits for each individual email address. So a couple of questions, because a lot of people want to know, how does this work? So everything happens within your AWS environment. We're not connecting to any external communications or connections to other systems. Everything is done that way. And we did it this way because it's the most secure way to handle the email security and setup. So we've created a system that safeguards your SES system by each email is set up and configured as its own IAM user in your AWS infrastructure. we add IP level restrictions to the email account to safeguard sending. And anytime the system sends out an outbound email via Amazon SES, we use serverless Lambda functions and other systems to track what email was sent, including the subject line, recipients, and whether or not it bounced. We store all of this in a MySQL database, which is also hosted in your AWS environment. And you're able to use this online portal to configure, track, test, and rekey email accounts. And if any email account is compromised, hacked, starts sending out of control, bouncing more than a specific threshold, the system yanks the SMTP keys and disables sending right away. You'll also receive an email from AWS letting you know why. In the portal, you're able to rekey an email account and regenerate the username and password. You'll need that to update your application separately. We offer this as a full service setup or self-service, as I described before. And one question that frequently comes up is how much will this cost in your AWS environment? The additional cost for running this on a medium volume system is somewhere between $10 to $20 a month in additional AWS server costs. That includes the Lambda functions, a MySQL database, and a small micro EC2 or Lightsail instance to run the rate limiting portal. So let me run you through a quick walkthrough of how the portal works. So first, let's go and let's send a test email out of the system. So I'm going to choose from the dropdown one of these, and then I'm going to send it to myself in this case, and we're going to say test number one. Test number one. This is going to send out a test. It said email successfully sent, all good. So now let's do test number two, and we'll do test number two, and we'll send that, and that also sent out, which is fabulous. We are now going to send out test number three, and we'll send that, and that went through. We're going to do test number four, and just so you know, the threshold is 5 emails. So at a certain point, we're going to hit that threshold, and that was 4, so let's do 5 here. Here's test number 5. That also went out. And then the next test, test number 6, this should have pulled the credentials. So let's see if that works. Maybe not. Oh, here we go. Test number 6. SMTP error could not authenticate. And this gives us an indication that the system has now been revoked. And I'll just drag this over so you can see it on here. And it says, hey, this test user, test111 at cp-demo.com, which is a domain we own. There's a daily email send quota of 15, hourly send of 5. We've sent 11 today. We sent 5 in the last hour. We just reached the hourly quota, and this is the action that's required. If you want to see one of the tests, we can see here's test number 5 that went out, and we've got all of those guys right there so that we can see how this stuff works. So what do we do? Now this is done. So now we have to rotate the SMTP keys for this. So I'm going to go to this page in the system and say, okay, test 111, rotate the keys. This is going to regenerate the username and password in here. And in this case, this is going to create a new username and password. This is the actual real legit stuff. Of course, I'm going to do this again, so these will be revoked pretty quickly. So now let's go back and let's send one more test email to see if we can send this through the system. Test after rekeying the credentials. Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're going to send another test, and you can see the sended successfully, which is very cool. Now, if I want to send to a bounced email account, I can send to a email account that will likely bounce, and it'll do the same type of basic configuration. So I wanted to go through that example. So it's good to trust things, but it's also very good to verify how this works and how it all comes together. And I have a lot more comfort in the system knowing that that's how it works. So let's go in and look at some of the configuration. So if you want to configure email addresses in the system, this allows you to send to test or to configure the accounts for bounce handling. It's sometimes easier to look at an existing process than one that we have to set up from scratch. So for the test 111 user that we just did, we have a daily send quota of 15. So you can only send 15 emails out per day. Great for a test system when you're trying to see if the system works. Sucks if this is a production system, so you would set it a little bit higher. Again, hourly send quota, we're saying if there's more than 5 emails being sent in an hour, just take it out of the system. Next, daily bounce quota. There's 3 bounces that are allowed in the system per day or per hour. And the reason for this is that when you are going through a system like this and you have an email account that goes way out of control, there's a couple things that happen. One is it's going to send rapidly. A spammer or an attacker is going to send out or try to send out hundreds or thousands of emails right away. And typically the list that the attacker uses is probably older. It's out of date email addresses that bounce right away. So using the combination of these two to say, okay, let's set the bounce rate as a little bit lower, the daily and hourly send rates a little bit higher. This will help you really control it very, very quickly. We also have something for foreign language quotas. That's not available in all SES regions, so we're not supporting it and putting it in this case. So for right now, the bounce rate quota is set for 15 per day, and that's from midnight to 11:59 p.m. That same day. Same thing with daily and hourly bounce rates. So from there, if we wanted to add a new email, what we can do is you can select an identity through the system, and we can say this is this one, and we're going to set it up as test 111 or test 222, and I have a bunch in there that we can see. Now, let's say you don't want to do that for every single account, which is totally fine and reasonable. And if you don't set any, you can set default settings. So it's a catch-all for everything. So you could set the send quota for everything to 20 per day for sending or 10 per hour. Again, on a production system, you would have this much higher. Same thing with bounce quotas. So you don't have to set it up for each and every one, which is very, very nice. So the next thing that we'll look at are the email archive. So this is a really nice way, and you can see this is the test after resending the credentials, test 6, test 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. These are the ones that went through, and if you've had the pleasure of being in the AWS environment in the SES system, where it's really tough to find stuff, and somebody's like, hey, I'm looking for something that was sent out for this really important AR invoice, and we don't seem to have sent it. Can you check? Well, this allows you to do this. This is in a MySQL database in your system, so if you'd like to use this search system, awesome. You can search by sender, event type, bounce or send, recipient, from date. All these things are fabulous. Or you can search directly in your MySQL database. You can also export to Excel or PDF. Block history. Anytime the system blocks people, and you can see I've been testing and other things are going on in the system, you can see, hey, this sender quota was exceeded. You can see it was 6 out of 5 because we rekeyed it and resent more through. But this allows you to figure out, hey, what's going on? What was blocked? What was there? On the dashboard itself, you can see SES Insights. We built a local AI agent that runs strictly on your system, is not connected to anything else. Basically, it's a Python script that scrapes through all the data from the email sends, the block history, and sender config systems, and refreshes it hourly, computes it, and says, okay, in the last 24 hours, we've sent 10 messages, nothing's bounced, 1 block, no complaints, which is all good. You can see how this goes over time. Top senders. Here are the senders near quota. Here are the recent blocks and other kinds of things. And then if you want, optionally, you can say, hey, And I know, do you really want to get an email about an email system? Well, it kind of beats going to a specific portal and trying to remember it and all the rest. So you could basically say, okay, I want a digest of all of what the system is doing once a day, once a week, once a month. And you can set it this way and handle it that way. This is kind of a basic overview of the system. You can see what are your SMTP settings. You can change your passwords for admin. You can add other users or go through the system. So anyway, I hope this is helpful, and I wish you luck. And we built this out of frustration. We built this as a way where you can take back control over this massive bucket of emails that you have for the AWS SES system and really generate something that's positive for you and your organization and not get that dreaded TOS service notice from AWS because some developer screwed up and put something in there or left the keys to an email account in a public repo and it got hacked and now you're sending and now you're begging to get back onto the system. So this is a demo system. So in a production system, there would be more. If you have any questions, I'd love to talk with you. My phone number is 303-473-4400. I'm Jeff. I founded Customer Paradigm. I designed the system out of frustration, but we're releasing it out there to people so that they have a better way to control this. I hope this helps. Give us a shout, and I'd love to help out with your AWS SES system. Thanks.